Welcome back to Eat Sleep Boxing Repeats YouTube channel for another weekly preview. Just delighted to be joined by Elliot and Paul as always. Gents, thanks for joining me. Not a packed weekend, as we were just saying off camera, that we're going to be discussing this week, which may be a bit of a relief as boxing's been so relentless the last few weeks. But yeah, a couple of us to discuss anyway. How are both of you?
I'm good, man. I'm well rested. Like I said to you off camera, I slept through 10 rounds of Boatsy Riches, so I'm feeling good actually.
Yeah, ready to go again this week, this weekend. Never stops. Cool. We will get started with this week's main event, which is Gervonta Davis against Rolando Romero. Lightweight division, undefeated versus undefeated in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Not too sure how you can watch the fight in the UK, if I'm honest. I'm sure details of that will come up soon, if at all. But yeah, kind of straight up, Gervonta Davis obviously has been very impressive in parts of his career. Parts of it, he's kind of not made weight a couple of times, which hasn't been as impressive. We've obviously seen him fight in the UK against one of the Walsh brothers, which was like a long time ago now. Want to ask you guys, how much of a test do you think Romero is going to be for Gervonta Davis? He's undefeated as well, bit of a puncher as well. And yeah, how much of a test can we expect there to be for Tank for Saturday night? Paul, I'll go to you first.
Cheers, Elliot. I think it will be a good fight in the sense that there seems to be a wee bit of bitterness and a rivalry between the pair for one reason or another. They're both they're both giving it the big one to each other at the press conferences and stuff that they have done before, and they're just both quite mouthy, I suppose. Which at least with Davis, he can back it up. So far in his career, with Romero, that's still unknown to us really. I'd say that to the majority of UK boxing fans, yeah, he's 14-0 with 12 knockouts. It looks impressive on paper, but other than his win against Anthony Yigit, which was his last time out almost a year ago, I don't think there's very many. I'd actually go as far as saying there's no other real names on his resume that would jump out to you. So I just feel like he's definitely not as well known in the UK, which I suppose works one of two ways. I think it will be competitive enough. I don't think that Davis will blast them out of there in 1, 2, or 3 rounds. I could see Tank Davis winning the fight. Definitely, I can definitely see him winning the fight and by stoppage, but probably mid to late. I think that Romero could be dangerous for the opening few rounds. He's a lot bigger than Gervonta Davis, but I suppose Gervonta Davis on the other side of the coin is used to that because he's not really big no matter what division he fights in. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, will it be a test? I think it'll be. Yeah, well, I think that it's the unknown really with Romero because he hasn't. He's only 26 as well. He hasn't fought anyone really on this level. He hasn't fought anyone on this level. So will he rise to the occasion? Will he crumble? That's yet to be seen. He's saying that he's going to knock out Gervonta Davis in 1 round. So he sounds a bit delusional, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the fight because anytime Gervonta Davis fights, there seems to be fireworks.
Yeah, absolutely. A very exciting fighter. I think one thing that's interesting as well as Davies is what is his best weight class, because he's competed at so many during the time he's been a pro, and as we mentioned a couple of times, he's not made weight, whether that's due to laziness or due to just it not him outgrowing the weight division. Who really knows? But it feels like he's maybe at that's going to stay at lightweight now, rather than move back down. Who knows? But yeah, Elliot, Greg, looking forward to getting your thoughts on this fight as well. How much of a good fight can we expect to see?
I'm a massive Gervonta Davis fan, and I mean, what you really should look at it is when you think of Gervonta Davis, you should think of Jonathan Nelson over here, me here. When it comes to fandom of Gervonta Davis, I really rate him very highly. But I suppose again, kind of like what Paul was alluding to as well. I mean, and what you were saying there, my concerns with him really are mostly outside of the ring. Like you're looking at him like 27 years old now, and you're thinking someone with that talent has been involved in quite a lot of skirmishes, quite a lot of deconditioning between fights as well. And I almost feel like for me, that's where the worry with him comes in. Obviously, explosive fighter, 24 knockouts and 26 victories. Very exciting to watch. So I don't necessarily have any worries with regards to his sort of natural talent. It's more a case of him staying motivated and staying around this weight for the sort of super fights we want to see him in. I think, like you were saying with Romero, it's a case of, again, like, I don't know, I don't see him being that much of a challenge, but I do kind of agree with Paul in the sense that I don't think Davis is going to come in and blast him out in like the first 3 rounds. And also, like Paul was saying, the size difference there. I mean, he's sort of 5'8". I think Davis is about sort of 5'5". So that'll be a noticeable difference. Slight reach advantage as well. But I still expect Davis to blast him out, frankly, at some point. I think it'll probably be somewhere sort of 6 to 8, somewhere around that sort of range. I just think, even though I'm a massive fan of Davis, I'm looking at it and you're going, right, his last fight, he's fought obviously Isaac Cruz, he's fought obviously Leo Santa Cruz, Gamboa, but these guys obviously sort of moving up in weight as well. So you can kind of have that sort of asterisk next to the opponents that he has faced, and they're not necessarily fighting in their natural weight class either. But I still think when you look at when you look at the actual CVs of the two, I still expect Davis to have enough to get through this by KO. But I still think it'd be an exciting fight. I'm just I know obviously, Gambosis and Haney are tied up as well, but you're looking around it going, it's not really the fight that you want to see Gervonta Davis in. Like, it's the stage now you want to see him like in with any of those other names at lightweight, and just it's almost time to the world title fight as well. You just take the stabilizers off this somehow and let's get going with some of these fights, because like I say, 27, bit of the Ricky Hatton between fights. I don't want to sort of stay at his peak and get him involved, frankly. So yeah, I still think it'll be an exciting fight, because Davis is an exciting fighter, and like you say, Romero doing his best to sell it. Also, 12 KOs and 14, so obviously carries power. But I just think he's not been in with anyone at the sort of talent of Davis. I expect it to be a Davis KO sort of mid-rounds.
Yeah, I think interesting to note that the weekend after this fight is the big undisputed fight between Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr. Just wonder if Gervonta Davis wins on Saturday. Surely there's going to be demand for him to face the winner of that fight. Whether that happens or not, it's a completely different question, and not sure I see that happening next, but there's definitely going to be demand for it, so you never know. Only one other fight to discuss this weekend, gents. Erislandy Lara defends his world middleweight title against Gary O'Sullivan. I think Gary O'Sullivan are quite familiar with in this country. He's faced Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank Jr. in the past. I know he fought David Lemieux recently, and Jaime Munguia recently as well, not in the States. Erislandy Lara has been kind of a great champion, had a really close fight against Canelo a few years ago, nearly 40 now. It's a still world champion, so kind of massive respect to be able to achieve that. How much for a mismatch do you think we're going to see on Saturday? I'm going to go to Elliot Grigg for this one.
I mean, if you look, I mean, Paul's laughing because, and as well he should be, but I think, to be honest with you, it will be, if you're looking at pure talent, it's obviously a big mismatch. I think the only thing I'm kind of looking at it is Lara's 39, nearly 40, but then I suppose Sullivan himself is 37. So it's almost like the fight that doesn't, I don't know anyone really wants to see this. It's a good kind of, it's intriguing in a way, but no one's sitting there clamoring for Spike O'Sullivan to fight Erislandy Lara. No one's banging the door down for that. But I think it's, I saw an interview with Spike yesterday, I think in an Irish outlet, where essentially he was saying that he was channeling the spirit of Ronnie O'Sullivan in chasing his dreams, later into his life. And this is not snooker, is it? Let's be honest. So I think it's a case of I just think it's a stage 2 fight. You mentioned the names that he's fought, obviously commendably so. Spike O'Sullivan, the Saunders, the Eubanks, Munguia, these sort of names, Lemieux, but he's not beaten any of these guys. That's the thing. So it's not a case of every single time he gets to that certain level, he comes unstuck. And I just think I literally can't see anything other than a Lara victory. And I think it's again one of those things we look at his KO knockouts, 16 and 28. So if he does, if Spike's going to win it, he's probably going to have to outpoint Lara, and he's not going to do that. So it's almost unless Lara looks very old on Saturday somehow, then he might win. But other than that, I just think it's probably going to be a UD victory for Lara, to be perfectly honest. Can't see anything else other than that happening.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how O'Sullivan's kind of been given this opportunity. if you look, he's kind of his last couple of years, kind of I think he's lost a fight to Hyman Gear and then fought a journeyman. So
he's coming off a six round UT victory in a 6-rounder.
Yeah, I think how he's been selected is a bit concerning, and yeah, you don't want the chief support for a big show to not be competitive, which quite frankly we saw that on Saturday night, and it wasn't pretty in the Chantel Cameron fight. So I think we could see somewhat of a repeat this Saturday. But Paul, give me your thoughts, mate. Do you think that O'Sullivan can kind of produce something on Saturday night, or not so much?
No. To put it one way or another, I don't think he can. I think when you mentioned there, you don't know how he really got this opportunity. I completely agree. It's one of them where you look at it and you just think, how does he, like, the amount of big fights and opportunities and, like, world title fights that he's been given recently, you're like, how on earth do you deserve that? And you know what, fair play to him. Like, with he's a good character. He is funny and he's good for boxing. But to be giving him another world title shot, he must have some dirt on someone in the boxing world. But no, honestly, I don't really see. I don't see this as a competitive fight at all. Obviously, you look at O'Sullivan, and he's only fought 2 12-rounders since the Eubank defeat, which was 2015. And those 2 12-rounders, he got stopped in 1 round by Lemieux, and I can't remember what round it was against Munguia. But he hasn't gone 12 rounds in probably closer to 10 years than 5 years. So I'm thinking, like, and the only, as you said, Elliot, the only way he is going to win is probably on points, because he's not. I don't think I can't see him stopping Lara. So you're telling me Gary O'Sullivan's going to have to win on points, which he haven't, over 12 rounds, which he hasn't gone in almost a decade? Not going to happen. Yeah. So, but then obviously Lara, I do agree. The only thing you're looking at is if Lara's got old overnight somehow, which I don't think he will have. But yeah, obviously you mentioned there the Canelo defeat back in 2014 now, a split decision. He also lost split decision to Jared Hurt a few years back. But he also was beating some good names like Austin Trout and the likes. And yeah, commendable that he is the age he is, and is still a world champion. So yeah, routine stoppage victory for Lara, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. I think the only thing, I'm not kind of defending the fight here, but the only thing I can think of is that Lara is in line for a big fight, whether it's against Charlo or Golovkin or a big fight, and this is just a keep busy fight for him. Still not great, still not ideal for fans, but that's one thing I can think of from his side, is that he just needs a fight to stay active before having a bigger fight later in the year. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe Gary O'Sullivan will shock the world, and we'll have to shut down ESBR. Who knows? But all right, gents, cool. Yeah, not as much of a packed weekend as we're used to, but yeah, a bit of a relief. To be honest, we will be back next weekend as Joe Cordina challenges for a world title, and George Kambosos Jr. and Devin Haney fight in what is a massive undisputed fight in Australia. But yeah, thanks for joining me. We'll speak to you next week. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye.